Hey guys, it's Lloyd here from Brilliant by Design again, and look, I just wanted to show you this job that's underway at the moment on site. This was a real challenge for myself and for James Madigan at Innovation Building Design. Um, Look, the draftsman did a fantastic job as far as designing and drawing the plans, but it's just a lot going on. And without a 3D model, we were really scratching our heads as to how we would build this and make sure that it was all going to work. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with this job, it's not going to make a lot of sense, but there's an existing house out here on this side, which isn't in the model. I'm just going to run you through very quickly so you get a feel for it, and then I want to show you some of the plans, some of the issues, and also some of the content that we were able to provide for the client. So this is a veranda, obviously a little veranda coming through here. This is a kitchen area, which I'll show you later. We've got a laundry in here, a bedroom in here, and through here, so this is a pantry in this little section, and then around here this is a master bedroom with an ensuite and a walk-in robe. So that's kind of the layout if you were able to keep up there. Some of the things that made this a real challenge from a building point of view was this guy in the middle, the box gutter, and just getting that to work and comply. Another real challenge was all the roof lines and the detailing of these eaves and how we were going to do that. This section over here where you can see this steel beam is actually the existing roof. It's a hip roof, and trying to figure out how we were going to make that work. What we ended up doing was propping it up with these PFCs and then knocking everything out from underneath and building the frame up underneath. And then at the back we've got a blockwork wall because it's on the boundary and very close to it. And yeah, look, you can just see all the roof lines and the various connections. So it was a real challenge, and we spent a fair bit of time in the model just detailing and making sure that all our beams complied and were up to the code. Some of the other things which we really had to think carefully about was the kitchen and making sure that our bench was going to tie in properly with the windows. I'm just going to turn our basic cabinetry layout on so you can see we actually put the kitchen in and make sure that it all fits. Another little challenge was this section here, which is actually a huge cavity slider, and so that PFC running through there and making sure that that was all going to work. Let me just switch this veranda off. That was all going to work with our box gutter and with this roof coming in here. Now, one of the things about a 3D model is a 3D model is fantastic for figuring things out and also quantifying things, but on site as a carpenter, we don't want to be putting down our tools constantly to bring up a computer screen because it's too slow. It's too hard to get the information we need. So the way we do it is we have this 3D model which is available for our carpenters, but we also have an accompanying set of plans, and I'm just going to show you the plan set here. So this is our frame set out. This is our beam set out. And then we've got these framing plans. So just go to one that's a bit busier. So this is frame 2, and I'm going to jump into the model here and show you frame 2. So frame 2 is this frame here, okay? And I can isolate that out by clicking on one of these scenes, straight to frame 2. I'll just go back to perspective. Okay, and so if we go back to our plans, this is frame 2, and let me explain how this works. So when I do documentation for frames, I have the carpenter in mind and what he needs to know. So these measurements here are running measurements for the plate setouts. Down here we have a cut list, and this is a huge time saver on site because we can get a guy on the saw, maybe he's a first-year apprentice, and he can just be cutting out all the timbers that we require for this frame. And then another couple of guys are putting the frame together, making sure that they're square. We can see some lines here which denote some bracing that's required there, and all the measurements and heights that we need. So if I just flick through, you can see how this works for every frame. We've got a detailed framing plan, and then obviously the model, which just allows guys to get their head around all the connections and how everything works. And I put some 3D details in here where I think they're necessary. If it's a weird looking frame or something, because when you isolate the frames out on their own, they can often not make sense until you see it in the broader context. I just want to show you something else that we do. So this frame here is actually in the ensuite bathroom, and prior to beginning work on the job, our clients actually go through a selections process. And in that selections process, they choose all their fixtures, their toilets, their doors, pretty much everything in the job. This allows us to give them a really accurate price, which is important for them and for us. And it also allows us to make sure that in the job, everything is going to work. So we've had them select their toilet for this ensuite, and then we've got the specs for that toilet, and we've made sure that that toilet is going to fit perfectly there. We've modified the frame slightly, and we've even got a center measurement on our plans for the center of the cistern, which is going to be really helpful for the carpenters and for the plumbers. Just back to the 3D model. Now, I want to show you something else that we do. Sometimes for clients, it's really hard for them to picture how a room will look and feel and function. And so part of our process isn't just a structural model for quoting and building purposes, but we'll also do some really good high-end visuals and 3D modeling for our clients. So I want to show you this kitchen as a rendered concept. You'll have to bear with me, I've lost it here. Here we go. So if you can just picture yourself, let's jump into one of the views here. So standing in this kitchen, in this room, okay, that's our structural model, and then we move to our actual rendered views. And you can see the correlation. You can see this window through here that the bench top runs into, which is here. You can see the fridge and the bulkhead, and in this view you can actually see these little portal windows where it's square set around that box gutter. So if we were to jump in here and turn around, just move back here, you can see that portal window there and the box gutter running through. So our 3D renders and our images aren't just gimmicks. They actually represent and correlate directly to the actual build, exactly how we're going to build it and how it's going to look. And we think that's really important. And there's a few bigger views here. So there's that window there. Another thing I want to show you is the bathroom concept. So there's actually a bathroom which wasn't drawn in the model, but it sits at the back of this wall here, and it's part of the existing house. And so again, we went through the process of really working that bathroom up and making sure that the clients were really happy and satisfied with what they would get, and then letting that inform the building process. So I'm just going to show you our bathroom concept. Okay, so this isn't modeled up, but this is obviously the entry door coming in. Got a shower over here, double vanity, old clawfoot bath. So that's good for the client, but then our plans are for the tradesman. So we've got really accurate measurements showing where everything would be, elevations, measurements off the flooring to the center of the tap fixtures, We've got running measurements and accurate measurements for everything. The schematic drawings of all the fixtures that are going into the bathroom. So as far as project managing a job, when you've got a model and you've got plans like this, it makes things a lot easier, because you can email these plans out to your plumbers, to your tilers, to your carpenters, to your foreman, and straight away you have communicated with all those guys at a level which alternatively would have taken you hours on the phone and trips to site and many phone calls on site. So we really believe that thorough, careful planning at the beginning and accompanying documentation and modeling is the way to solve problems, provide the client with an excellent understanding of what they're receiving, and also is probably the best way that you can manage the job and make sure that the boys who are working for you and the contractors know exactly what to do and can do that efficiently. I just want to show you one more thing before I sign off for today. Now, and this really gave me a lot of satisfaction. The builder sent me some photos of the job, so I just want to show you some of those. So I'm going to try to match the views in SketchUp. So there you can see these are the frames going up, and there's the SketchUp model. We'll jump into this one here. Okay, and what I'm going to try to do is match that in the model if I can. I'm going to stand down here. So if we look up there, I'll just change our field of view to be a little bit greater, and jumping back into this photo, and you can see the correlation between the actual build and what we've modeled. And if you look carefully, you can see here the existing tile roof, which was propped up on those steel beams. And that was one thing that the 3D model really allowed us to see, was that actually, and we haven't changed this model, but when we drew it up, we realized that this roof was actually going to clash with this roof here. And so we were able to make allowances for that and change some heights and just get that sorted out prior to starting the build, which was a big deal. Well, would have been a big deal if the builder had discovered it once all the frames had been built. Anyway, look, I hope this is helpful, and I hope you found this interesting. Please like and share the content if you think it's of value, and yeah, I'll see you next time.